Hey guys, it's Emily and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be discussing all of the cards and things that came out in the month of March. I'm starting this new little series on my channel. I'm going to try to stick with it monthly. If you followed me before and followed my book content, I used to make these wrap-ups at the end of every month talking about every single book that I read in the month of March, for example. And I thought I'd kind of adapt that a little bit with Love and Deepspace. But instead of talking about like maybe everything I read or played in Love and Deepspace, I'm just going to talk about all the things that came out. I'm only really playing with stuff that's kind of coming out right now. I'm pretty caught up with most things. That way you can hear all of my thoughts on everything. This does in fact include reruns as well, even though I have played all of these rerun cards before. But everything that came out of Love and Deepspace this month, which I'm talking about it. I don't think that needs much more of a preamble, but I have some extra pizzazz, I guess, if you will, other things that I also wanted to add. I have been keeping some stats over the year. There was that, of course, the 1 year or end of the year thing talking about like things you did in Love and Deepspace, and there were certain stats that I would have loved to know that I feel like they didn't tell me. And so I thought I would share some of my stats that I've been keeping myself with you all. First of all, I do in fact play a lot of kitty cards with all of the boys, and I have started keeping track of it. I was curious, do I win more of the time? Do the boys win more of the time? And who is the best at kitty cards? Who is going to be the end of the year kitty cards champion? And I feel like actually keeping track of this, like there's certain things I may have never noticed before, but even like different strategies that the guys do, I've started picking up on. Like, for example, with Zane, his strategy is to collect and hoard the assist cards and then use them all on you at the same time. Xavier likes to play dumb most of the time, but he's actually very good at this game. I have currently an unequal amount of times I've played with them. I'm currently trying to get it back to a place that it will be equal, but currently it's not even. But this is just for the whole year currently. We'll start with Xavier first of all. I've played with him a total of 54 times. He has won 21 of those times. We have tied 4 of those times, and I have won 29 of those times. So in comparison to a lot of the other love interests, like we're pretty evenly matched, I would say. Zane, I've played currently with him like I think the least amount of times, and I've played with him 44 times. And out of those 44 times, he has won 12 of those times. I have won 28 of those times, and we have tied 4 times. So once I think this is more even, we can kind of, I guess, assess like who's the best kitty cards player a little bit better, but we're not quite there yet. But when I get there, next month, hopefully I'm at a more equal place with the boys, and then it'll be more accurate. But this is currently to my stats with them individually. So next we have Raphael. We've played 53 times together, and of those 53 times, he has won 19 times. We have tied twice, and I have won 32 times. So Raphael's currently in second last place for kitty cards, but the person actually in last place is Silas. I didn't realize that Silas was really bad at kitty cards. But I mean, I think it makes sense because he's so willing in like, I played the advanced version, I'm only playing the advanced version, but in like the beginner version, he's always ready to switch cards with her to make her do better. So I feel like she cares about it more than he does, so maybe that's why like he's bad at it. We played 46 times and he's only won 9 of those times. He is still under 10. I mean, Zane's not far behind at 12, or ahead, I guess. Silas has won 9 of 46 times. I've won 36 of those times, and we've tied once. And then finally we have Kayla, which currently at the most, I have played the most times with him. We've played 67 times, and of those 67 times, he has won 29 of them. So he is currently beating everybody else, but he's also played more times than like Xavier, for example. So Xavier's pretty close to beating Caleb. We've tied 3 times, and I've won 35. So I think Caleb could catch up to me. Like we're still pretty evenly matched. So that's currently what's going on in kitty cards and who's winning and what. But I find it very interesting to keep track of this. I feel like I'm learning more about the characters and like how they play games with the main character, like little lore bits, which is fun. I'm having fun with it. The other stats I've been keeping this year is my pulling stats. Different categories for all of these, so I guess we'll get into them. But basically it's for, you know, when I pull in every single card, and basically taking into account how long it took me to get them. For example, the first statistic is how many times I've lost my 50-50 trying to get a certain character. Currently, Caleb is in first place. I've lost my 50-50 trying to get Caleb 7 times, which would make sense. He's currently obviously got the most of that because he had 2 myths that have come out this year. I mean, of course we have the rerun, but which I already had this myth. I just wanted to rank it up, so I did get it to R2. So that partly has to do with it. So that's why Caleb's numbers are going to be a lot more skewed higher than the other characters, but that's because I've pulled more trying to get Caleb currently. And given whenever Raphael's rerun comes out, I mean, depends. If Raphael's rerun of the Lemurian Sea God also comes with God of Tides, then I'm just going to be getting God of Tides. But if it does not come with God of Tides, I'm going to be ranking up Lemurian Sea God because I never actually even got to the crate for that one. So I'm going to try to get the pink tail if that's the case. But otherwise, I don't have God of Tides yet. So I'm just missed the rerun of it last year. So I'm kind of selfishly hoping that it does rerun. So I have the option to try to get it. Then we have a three-way tie for second place for times I've lost my 50-50. Xavier, Zane, and Silas are all at 3. And Raphael, I've only lost my 50-50 trying to get one of his cards one time, which I think is proving what I already knew, that Raphael, I am Raphael's favorite. Raphael, I seem to never have an issue getting his card. Then we have the second stat, which is what card I lost my 50-50 to. Currently, Caleb's actually in the lead for this. Caleb's the one that keeps apparently showing up to try to make me lose my 50-50. I've lost to a standard Xavier card one time and a limited Xavier card twice. I've lost to a standard Zane card twice and a standard limited card twice. So these are like for multi-banners kind of thing. For Raphael, I've never lost to any of his standard cards. I've only just gotten his limited cards instead, and I'm not upset about that, to be honest. See, that's what I mean by Raphael's easy to come home. Like, even when I'm not trying to get him, I just, write then and there. He will still come home first every single time. I think actually for Mortality Tenderness, Xavier actually came home first, which is very rare. Xavier usually comes home last. So I was quite surprised, and good for Xavier, to be honest. For Silas, I've lost to 2 of his standard cards twice, but none of his limited cards. And then for Caleb, I've lost to his standard cards 3 times and his limited card also 3 times. Now, in terms of getting the card I wanted first try, so that means I didn't lose my 50-50. Caleb is currently, once again, still in first for this. I have gotten his card, the card that I wanted, first try for him 6 times. Then next is Raphael, shocker of all shockers. Of course Raphael is next because he's easy to get for him to come home. So he's come home when I wanted him to 3 times, which, I mean, how many cards have I pulled on? And this only counts when I was intentionally trying to get him. So for example, like if for a multi-banner, I didn't have Raphael as my precise wish and he came home, it doesn't count. Even if I did want to get that card. Like if it came home not in a precise wish, it doesn't count. So this only counts for, I think the multi-banners were included. I don't think I actually had to put Raphael as trying to get him. So this, like, actually I think I was very lucky this month. I think the only time I didn't count this was because I was guaranteed to get his birthday card. So for that it didn't count, but I did get that one, obviously. And then his other 2 birthday cards also came home this month without losing my 50-50, which was great. I can't remember if I went to pity for those. And Lingering Gaze also came home. So that might have been the 3 this month, to be honest, actually. It might have just been all this month. My Lingering Gaze pulls actually may have been the best pulls I've ever had. I didn't lose my 50-50 for any of the characters, actually. Xavier, Zane, and Raphael came home with the precise wish, and also before I reached pity, which was insane. I was like, I have never been this lucky in a multi-banner in my life, and I don't know if I will be again. I mean, maybe it will happen again. But I was really grateful. So I was like, what the heck? I feel like reruns are actually, I've oddly enough been better for me, which is weird. I don't know how that works, but it seems like when I'm trying to get something on a rerun, unless maybe your name's Xavier, I usually don't have an issue trying to get the card. There's a 3-way tie for last for Xavier, Zane, and Silas. Finally, we have the total amount of wishes spent trying to get the cards I want. So once again, Caleb is currently has the most amount for this category because I have been ranking him up and I haven't been doing that for the other characters. But I'm debating for some of them if I want to rank them up their myths or not. I only rank up to R2 because I just kind of care more about the outfits at this point in time. Caleb currently has the most amount. He's at a total at 776 wishes. Then in second, the most amount I've had to spend on another love interest is, wouldn't you know, Xavier at 394 wishes. Then in third, we have Raphael at 265, but again, he's kind of had more cards this year than I think some of the other characters. Whereas like characters like Silas, for example, I think I've only pulled on 2. Next we have Zane. Zane's in second last for least amount of pulls, which is 232. Zane's had more cards to pull on though. Silas is currently in last, so we'll see if that changes for his birthday, but he's currently at 211 wishes that I've only spent on him. That's the stats section if you were interested in all of that kind of stuff. I find this stuff fascinating, so I thought I would we'll report on it every month and we'll see what I'm at the end of the year. Which love interest loves me the most? I still think the answer is going to be Raphael. Now that we've covered the stats, let's jump into the cards and the stories and all of that themselves. So First of all, at the beginning of the month, we had Raphael's birthday, Duskbright Steps. And the Raphael girlies were getting what they wanted this month. I mean, this whole month was for the Raphael girlies. Raphael was in the spotlight because I feel like the Raphael girlies were just being fed this month. He had all the good cards. Like, I feel like the not fan service cards necessarily, but like, it is the cards the fans wanted. Like, we got Professor Raphael, and then we also got a sequel to Ebb and Flow. The plot of his birthday card was that the MC has to rearrange her plans for Raphael's birthday when she realizes that he will be working as a professor that day. So I'm very excited and very happy that we got Professor Raphael. It's something us Raphael girlies have been like wanting for so long now. I feel like I don't have that many like thoughts on like the card itself for this one, but I think MC's really cute. She looked up like all like the cute like romantic destinations at the university and then like took Raphael on like a little tour of it, which I thought was really cute. Kind of reminded me a bit of Zane's Holding Autumn card where they pretend to be students for a day. And they kind of get to relive that experience, especially because this kind of talks about a lot of what ifs, like because they were both there at the same time but didn't meet each other, at least from MC's perspective. And she's like, oh, it's such a missed opportunity. But, you know, Raphael's like, you know, I'm so grateful to be in your life now. Like, we don't need to look back on like the what ifs of everything. Like, let's just enjoy our time together that we have now, which I thought was really nice. And so it was just a really cute birthday card. It's the birthday fluff that you want because Raphael's like the first of all them. We got a new introduction on what we are getting for the birthdays this year. They have unfortunately taken away the birthday cards, which I get why they did it, but it really just takes like a few people to ruin it for everybody. So we cannot write crazy birthday cards anymore. We also can't make the cake, which is upsetting. Instead, we got to make a plushie, which was really cute. This almost makes me forgive the fact that we can't make a cake. Because making a plushie and then being able, like, of Raphael and then being able to put it in the house, I wish we could, like, continuously decorate or make multiple because, like, there were so many different options that I loved that I was just like, oh, but I like this one. And, like, I like that you could also change the color of the outfits. They didn't have to match typically what colors they usually are as well. But I'm very excited to see this going forward with the other characters, and my house is just gonna be full of like the plushies of them. I think this is really cute. I also think it's a missed opportunity that like we can't order these ourselves. Like you can make the plushie look how you want it and then like order it. I'd probably be really tempted to pay for it. I don't know if I have the money for that, but I'd be really tempted to pay for that. And then we also had the new game, Treasured Threads. I love this. This may be my favorite mini game of the year. Because some games I kind of just play them to get through them and whatever, but this game I had genuinely so much fun playing it. It's very similar to Best Fiends, which I used to play all the time, but it had enough that like, it stuck out and was different. And now I have another game like the grocery game that I'm going to mourn by the end of the year because this was so fun. So I'm really enjoying this game. I think it's wonderful. Thumbs up for me. And then we also had the rerun of Raphael's other two birthday cards. So now we know that like for sure like every single birthday card will be rerun every year, which is nice to get that confirmation because I was so worried that like because I missed this last year that I was not going to be able to get Unforgettable Adventure and I was going to be so upset because I am a completionist. So let's get into Unforgettable Adventure, shall we? Because I don't think I've talked about it on my channel actually before, so let's talk about the rerun cards. Unforgettable Adventure is basically after knowing Raphael for a little while, it's the first time that they are going to be spending his birthday together. The main character comes up with a plan to make his birthday special, but things don't quite go as planned. I will say, out of Raphael's birthday cards, this one's probably my least favorite. Partly because it just didn't seem like anyone was having a good time in this card. And I think that can be played up for laughs to some degree, but I don't think in a birthday card was maybe like, I don't know, he just seems really miserable on his birthday. And like, I mean, they could have delved into that more. I don't know if they really completely did, but it just felt like Raphael was not having a good time. I think partly because of that, like, it's not as fun and birthday is just some of like his other cards. As you can obviously see in like birthdays after that, like Raphael is like having a good time and like very smiley and like his birthday is great. So I feel like for the other birthdays it goes a lot better. But the ending was really cute though. It kind of made up for the rest of the card to some degree of like they're like watching the sunrise together and like that part was really sweet. I also like that in the Kindle here, like we kind of had this like thing we could get like, it was like an alternate Kindle, one of the first alternate Kindles actually, where you're kind of like fighting with Raphael, like, you know, mini wrestling, I guess we'll say. And then based on like who wins, it's pretty easy to win, but you know, you can play it differently and be like, okay, that's what happens. Like there's different dialogue choices and stuff like that. Like if you don't win, which is fun. And then they also, what surprised me more is that they ended up bringing this feature back for another card that we will talk about later that came out of the month. in a new card, which was really surprising. I'm glad that they've done it. Then we had Boundless Sea, which this one is my favorite of his birthday cards for sure. Basically how it would be, Boundless Sea is number 1, Duskbright Steps is number 2, and Unforgettable Adventure is number 3. But in this one, MC plans a special birthday for Raphael that's kind of like ones of his childhood. I think I like this one more than just like Unforgettable Adventure, because Unforgettable Adventure was kind of just like, we're gonna go do stuff and have fun, and then they didn't have fun. I don't know. That's Unforgettable Adventure. This one felt a lot more personal, and that's why I really like it so much. It's more personalized to Raphael and very sweet and intentional. It feels like a more Raphael-centric card than something like Unforgettable Adventure. And not only is he spending his birthday with MC, but she throws him a party, and so he's able to spend his birthday with a lot of other people in his life that he also really cares about, which I really love that. I also love his birthday fit. I think this is my favorite of his birthday fits as well. So I'm happy I finally have that now. And I've been like waiting a year to get this card because I joined shortly after this card ran for the first time, and I've just been like eyeing it for long, especially because of the Kindled. The Kindled is so beautiful, and I mean, it's kind of hard to top. Like, I brought the person I love home. It's honestly like one of the most stunning Kindleds I think in the game overall. Like, this may be, is this my favorite Raphael Kindled? It could be. If I ever made like a top 10 just Kindled alone list, it would definitely make the list. It's probably in the top 3, to be honest. It's really high up there because it's just stunning. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. And them together, it's just so cute and sweet and heartwarming, and like, oh, Raphael's a little romantic. Okay, so this card was really cute. I love this card a lot. Okay, next we're gonna talk about the 2 promise cards, specifically the ones that have already, like, you know, the ones that are currently running as a promise. So I'm gonna talk about them. So if you want to get them yourself, or like, you can also play the story on YouTube. But if you're like, you know what, that actually sounds interesting and I kind of want to play it, I'm gonna talk about my thoughts and feelings. But we're gonna start with Silas's card, which was Rosy Hues. So in this one, MC and Silas haven't seen each other in a while, but when they finally meet up again, they do some wine tasting together. I feel like when this card came out, a lot of people actually weren't liking it. From what I was kind of seeing in the community, it was getting a lot of negative reception. I would say like the artwork of the card, like with Silas, is getting like a little repetitive for his 4 stars, because every single one of his promise cards, aside from like, I think maybe one, he's shirtless. And like, you know, I'm not gonna say like he's not nice to look at, but just like purely from like an art perspective, like I think they should do something a little different. Despite all of that, despite like the negativity, I don't actually know what people's issues with the card itself, I suppose, because I actually really liked it. If you're only gonna get one of these cards, I would recommend Silas's. I think I had a better time with that one than I did Zane's. Zane is still cute, but I think Silas's is just the better card. There's a lot of playfulness and teasing between them, which I really enjoyed. I love their banter together, and I love that they were kind of trying to like rile each other up. I think that was really fun. And it like balanced like that like sensual tension really well, but we also had like this kind of like light playfulness that I really loved. I think the mesh of those two worked really nicely together. I also loved seeing MC be dominant with Silas. I think I love dominant MC. I love when she's like the one in charge. I think that's really fun, and I like seeing it with all the love interests, but I think with Silas, I mean, that's kind of the thing with Silas. They kind of, I mean, as we'll see when No Defense Zone reruns, that's like the whole trope of that card, is that MC wants to dominate Silas. So I love No Defense Zone MC coming out. I like the reverse too. I like both, but it's fun seeing her be the one in charge. And I think, you know, Silas is into that too. It's very lighthearted. It has a lot of goofy, funny moments. Like it is a silly card, and I don't think people talk about that enough, because they just see like the, you know, wine being poured on Silas, and they just think immediately like, oh, it's just spicy. There's definitely spice. I'm not gonna say you're wrong, but I will say the balance of spice and fluff is really well done. And I think that it gets to be a bit goofy as well. So if you are looking at like a look for a goofy, spicy card, I recommend this one. Then we had Zane's Chasing Silhouettes. So this one, it's after an incident at a mall with wanderers. MC is injured and Zane takes care of her. And while they are out and about, MC sees how much she can push her arm. This one I forgot to take notes on when I first read it, so I feel like my descriptions aren't gonna be as good, but I feel like I remember Silas's a lot better than I do Zane's. Like I feel like most of the cards kind of, like I played it this month, but a lot of it's kind of already lost on me. But the one part I do remember of this card was MC and Zane go to do archery, and then Zane's not quite there yet, but so MC's gonna like meet him there. I don't remember if he was doing something else. But then these like, this like couple's trying to like pick on her and like challenge her to a battle of like who can shoot best or whatever. But like they're playing like 2-on-1, which like already isn't fair. And then plus MC's arm is injured. So she does pretty well, but like not as well as she would like to, and as she would with like her arm working well. So then Zane comes in and like defends her honor, as he should. I also like the beginning section where like, I think they're just like on a date at the mall, Wanderers like break out, and I love how they work together. I mean, I feel like we obviously see that in just like the battle component of the game, but it's fun seeing like that be interwoven in the story sometimes as well. That this is just like a natural thing for them, that like, oh, this breaks out and we get to see the two of them work together. And sometimes they're off doing their separate things, but they're still like working together throughout that, and I think that's really fun. Then we had a solo card called Tranquil Moments, which is just a Xavier solo card this month. So the plot is Xavier and MC get involved in a culinary scandal when they discover a hot pot company is trying to get rid of their favorite hot pot place. This is what I wanted. This was the silly I was looking for. I think I would have liked it to be a little more silly, but I think the plot in and of itself is pretty silly. They kind of are investigating like these other hot pot places because like they are doing sus things. Like it doesn't need to be taken too seriously. Like it's not gonna be like life or death or any of like that kind of stakes. And honestly, you get what's advertised with like the silly shenanigans that the two of them go on. I will say, I feel like once the shenanigans end, I feel like it starts to become a bit more of a slice of life card. So it's a bit of both. Like I think I was expecting, it's gonna sound weird, but like Cat Caretaker, like where it's like that kind of level of silly, but Cat Caretaker is silly the whole card. Like it just kind of owns what it is. This still owns what it is. Like I'm not saying that, but I feel like it's not silly the whole card, but there's a lot of silly moments to it. And I think like the slice of life moments I really did enjoy as well. We get more of a peek into Xavier's life, which I have been so much enjoying. I think I spoke on this in my 1 year anniversary video where I was talking about Feverish Attempts and how much I love that card. Feverish Attempts, you will always be famous to me. This keeps showing how much important card Feverish Attempts is because it's really set what we've gotten afterwards. And I love that Xavier is being not this mysterious guy anymore. I feel like he's been a lot more open with the main character and open about his past, and I really love to see that. I love that he's just telling her things and letting her in on different things, and I think it's really great. It's great character development from him. I love it. Then we also had the event stories, which I mean, depending on like what they are, like I don't think I talked about Raphael's that much, but I feel like it was kind of already a part of the story that I feel like talking about Raphael's like a birthday event story just kind of felt pointless to me. But I will talk about acting manager days. So there's currently like a theme with like the solo cards, which they've done this before. They did this with the solo cards that came out I think in like the end of 2024, where there was like a Twinkle Photo Booth theme. Then there'd be like a different like theme within the Twinkle Photo Booth thing of like, this one's like a pet theme or something like that. And so, or maybe there was a wedding theme. I don't think there was a wedding theme, but like something like that. Like you're gonna dress all formally or something like that. And then they're gonna use those pictures and they're gonna display them in store. And then they do like little slice of life, like fluffy stuff outside of that. So this one's kind of has like a similar thing as that. Twinkle Toys has like a pop-up. They did this with Zane as well. So this is gonna be a continuing theme, which I'm okay with. I like these like continuing theme stories. I enjoy them. I don't think everyone does, but I do. Twinkle Toys is coming a pop-up and the main character and the love interest become the managers, the acting managers for the time. And I think a story with the theme is fun. That's what the event stories really are. Like they're just kind of fluff, like, and they're extra fluff. You don't need to play them, but if you are really invested in the characters like me, and I just want to play like everything because I'm extra like that, I feel like this really goes well with the game. I don't know what the game was like in 2024 with like the photo booth thing, because I wasn't around for that. I've only played the event stories vicariously through YouTube. So I can speak on the fact that like this does go well with the game. So I think that's kind of fun that like they have this like little plushie game. I'm enjoying this plushie game a lot as well. Like it's another one that I'm really gonna miss like when the year's over. I feel like the solo games for the solo cards are just like the best of the year. At least that's the case this year. Like I mean the birthday game last year was kind of whatever. Whereas like the birthday card this event this year or game is really fun. And I also really love this like sorting the plushies game. These are the kind of games I really love. So like this is really doing it for me where you have to like organize them. I also love the aesthetic they did for Xavier, that they leaned into his whole like prince persona. So like the chippies are in like a little fairy tale background, which is like really cute. My Oma saw this on my phone and she was like, oh, that's so cute. Cause I like get screenshots of them as like chippies. I usually click the share function and then I use the chibi like little cute thing as backgrounds for my phone. And so my Oma saw it and she thought it was cute. My Oma's officially a Love and Deepspace fan. She's a Xavier girly. My Oma thought it was cute, so high praise coming from her. I don't remember much about the event story, but I like the theme of it. I'm having fun with it. I like that when they have all of them be linked. And I feel like the last one, I mean they were linked to some degree with like I think the shopping the grocery store or whatever, I feel like, or like something was involved, but I feel like they were all pretty different. So whereas I feel like these ones are a lot more similar to each other. Moving on to the Lingering Gaze rerun. This rerun I've definitely been greatly anticipating, mainly for one card, but we'll get into that card. But we'll start off with Xavier. So his card is Romantic Afternoon. Xavier is helping MC with her insomnia problems, and they end up having a sleepover. It's one of those ones I don't really feel like I have a lot to say on it. I feel like given its plot, like it maybe should be a little bit more interesting than it actually is. I feel like we could have probably played more with some of like the tension between them, especially because like it was one of the earlier cards. So this is set like early in their relationship. Now I don't really know. I feel like when I first read this, like my interpretation was this was set before they got into a relationship, but I feel like you could probably place it in like either or for the timeline, especially because I feel like the other two cards, those characters are in a relationship. You could say it's either their early romance, especially because it's called Romantic Afternoon, but you could also put it probably before they get together as well. I guess we got those tension moments in Tender Night and Heartstring Symphony, which were two cards that came out before this one did. So maybe this one's just supposed to be lighter, but I feel like we could have played into that a little more of them maybe tiptoeing around feelings, or even not feelings, but even just like the newness of their romance if they are, if you want to interpret it that they are in a romantic relationship at this point, or if they aren't. We can't go full throttle in this because it was an earlier card and we have to build up to things. It's still a cute story, but I don't feel like it was that memorable for me. But what is memorable is the fact that Xavier is never going to beat the Sleepy Boy allegations. Next we have Zane's card, which is called Hearts Within Reach. And I feel like this card was getting the buzz it deserved when the rerun came out. I kept seeing so many people talking about it, which made me very happy because I am a Hearts Within Reach stan. This is like one of my favorite Zane cards. I don't know if it makes the top 10, but I like to think that it would. In this story, Zane reflects on how him and MC are very different people after they go to a carnival together, and he overhears somebody saying that like two people who are just too different can't be in a relationship. I think this is such an underrated Zane card, but it's honestly one of my faves. And it's one that like I could really like dissect and dive into, so that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do right now. Maybe I'll make a whole separate video on like all the little like things that I see in this card, because there's like so many like little things that like I pick out and I'm like, oh, I love this, I love this, I love this. It's a card that's set very early on into their romantic relationship, and it has a similar vibe to the card Business Trip, which is one of the standard cards, another one of my favorites, where they're kind of just like skirting around their feelings. They're at this point that like at this point, they've like confessed their feelings to each other. Now that they're in a relationship, there's still a lot that's kind of like being left unsaid. This is very different Zane to the Zane we have today, who's very like affectionate and like open about his feelings. Like now, this is very much the closed off Zane that we're getting. You don't get to read from Zane's perspective in this card, but I feel like my brain feels like remembering like that it was from Zane's perspective. So when I went back, I was like, oh, this card is not from Zane's perspective. Why did I think that? But I think it's just because there's a lot of things that you can read between the lines of how Zane is feeling without him ever actually saying it, which is something I really enjoy about this card as well. It's really sad. I feel like Zane in this card, I feel so bad for him. Like, cause he's just like feeling really insecure in their relationship, and not because of anything MC has done, but just because of how he feel like his relationship with her is viewed to others, and then he kind of starts questioning his relationship with MC. You can see that Zane is starting to doubt himself, and he has like this insecurity all because of this comment that he hears, that like people are too different, can't be together, because I mean, Zane and MC are like the grumpy sunshine trope, but that's not actually what Zane wants at the end of the day, because he does have these real feelings for MC and he really cares about her. He starts questioning like, am I good enough? Like, should we be in this relationship? Like, does she want to be with me? And it's more like from that front. And I think this like comes across so well in the Kindled, because Zane in the Kindled is so cute. He's so shy in the Kindled as well. There's things like he definitely wants, like he wants, like that affectionate Zane is just like slowly like simmering under the surface of all of this. But you can see like a little glimpses into it like back here, which is I think really fun, especially when you're so used to like the affectionate Zane we get now. I think seeing him like be really shy is he's so cute. And like he wants to be like upfront with her and be like, you know, like I think internally he's just like freaking out, and he's like, oh my goodness, like I love her, you know, maybe not love her yet, but like he definitely loves her obviously, but he's like, oh, like, I really care about her so much, and like I just want to this to work out, and like, you know, like it's all like just like simmering, just like below. And then like even like in the moment we see like she's like all like cutesy with him and like flirting, and he's just kind of like quiet and like stoic. But then it's like the moment where like he's like, when can I see you again? And like, you know, like that was kind of hard for him, like even to like probably get out. Even it shows like he was just kind of shy and like hesitant. He's very eager. It's very like under the surface, but he doesn't want to like appear like too eager, but he's definitely very eager. You get to see him be a bit more affectionate and gentle and soft at the end of the card, and it's so cute. I love this card so much. I'm so glad I finally have it. I've been wanting this card for so long, so I'm very happy about this card. I love this card so much, and then playing it again reminded me why I love it so much. I think it's one that really grew on me, because I feel like the first time I played it, I didn't really appreciate it for what it is, but then like it's one of those cards that like really stuck with me, and I was like thinking about it for so long after I played it. I think it's such a cute card. Oh, I love this one so very much. And finally we have Raphael's Whispers card. So in this one, Raphael is going on a trip with MC for an interview that he has to do, and they end up playing this goofy game together where they can't secretly look at each other. Like they can't like steal glances at each other. This story is very cute and playful, and it also takes the whole like lingering gaze literally, where I feel like, I mean, the other cards, I mean, I guess like with Zayn it's more what I was saying, like his gaze is the lingering one, right? And as he's kind of dealing with different things, but I don't really feel like, I don't know, the romantic afternoon was leaning into like a lingering gaze theme necessarily, like, but I think I don't mind stuff like this, because like lingering gaze is such like a vague theme that you can kind of do whatever you want, and I kind of miss when cards were like this, because specifically multi-banners, because you know, there wasn't like some theme that they had to live up to, like an idol banner. So you can kind of just do whatever you want with this. It takes out the restrictions and you're able to develop the characters a lot better. But this one does go into the whole lingering gaze theme. It's not necessarily one of his more memorable cards for me necessarily, but it does show off their playful side together, and I like that, like the little teasing and stuff like that when Raphael's like, oh, you looked at me, you owe me now, you have to go buy me a coffee. There's some playful moments in it, and I think the romantic culmination at the end, he's like, I want to keep, you know, it's been really hard for me not being able to like look at you, and I'm like, I want to keep looking at you. That part was really cute. The ending, I really love that one. Now we have the Promise rerun. These are expensive. I don't love what they are doing with the Promise reruns. I think they are scammy. Because the thing is, like, $12 for one card without like the added benefits that you got. These cards should be, if you're only gonna offer the card and like one accessory, these cards should be way cheaper than they are. Like they should be maybe like $3. Because with the Promise in general, it's not just like you're just getting the card, but you're also getting all of these extra resources that will help you, including like a 12 pull on the limited banner. But it's just not worth your money in that regard. I was hoping it would change, because I did skip the first Promise rerun, but unfortunately it has not, which I'm disappointed by. This one I was tempted though, because like, I mean, I did spend the money on this one because I do love these cards a lot more. My completionist heart is breaking. But I am a completionist, so. Anyways, let's talk about the cards though. So first of all, we have Raphael's Tipsy card. I forgot how good this card was. But in this one, MC is going away to a training camp for 2 months, and her and Raphael have one last hurrah before she leaves. This is one of those cards that I feel like I talk about, the romance is just them being together, and I think this comes off really well in this card, but it also has angst involved. So, you know, we get a perfect combination here. It's very evident clear how much these two care about each other, and just how much they enjoy being together. But there's also the issue of that MC is going to a training camp, I think for like 2 months or something like that. And it's gonna be a long time. And like, they're not gonna be able to communicate that much, because I think she doesn't get her phone there. So she has to like, you know, call from like a payphone or something like that, or like weekends or something. They're dealing with the fact that they're really gonna miss each other like throughout this time. Especially because I'm sure Xavier's there too. And so that's gonna be really intimidating for Raphael. They know they're gonna miss each other, but they're also kind of tiptoeing around it, kind of like in Zayn's business trip card. But it's just really clear, like in a lot of their actions, they're a bit more out with it than like in Zayn's business trip. Like MC orders photos of her and Raphael together because she won't have her phone, so she wants like to still be able to see his face and like reminders of him, which is really, really cute. And then he gets her a locket that I think has like a little flame inside, you know, because of their bond. And they also are really clingy. Like they get like, you know, tipsy and stuff. And like they have this like clingy moment outside together. And it's really cute that they're, you know, they're just like, I just don't want to be without you. And it just, oh, it's a really cute card. So if you haven't played it yet, I would recommend checking it out on YouTube. It's a really cute one. I love this one. Then we have one of the cards that like I really wanted to get this for, which was Silas's No Way Out. MC finds Silas after he's been injured, and that's the plot. This is like honestly one of my favorite Silas cards of all time. I feel like I've been saying that a lot in this video. That's what happens when we get reruns of things that I love. I feel like Silas is some of the best 4-star cards. Like I feel like I rate his 4-star cards like very highly, even above some of his 5 stars, but I just genuinely think they're just that good. I love the tension between them because it's definitely like earlier on in their relationship. MC's kind of still warming up to Silas at this point. She gets like a call from like her hunter's watch that like somebody's been injured and needs help, and then she runs into Silas and she's like, are you kidding me? Not this man. She does like tend to him even when he's adamant that she doesn't. He's like, you know, like I'm fine, and she's like, no, I'm gonna help you, you stop, let me help you. The gradual like MC warming up to Silas, and I really like that part of their relationship and like the build up between them. We also get to see Silas in a more vulnerable state, which I also really love as well. I feel like there's definitely like certain moments, like, you know, in his what's it, I don't know what it's called, but the Nightly Rendezvous card, like you see it a bit as well when like they finally like get together, and I feel like it's kind of like, you know, a preemptive like vulnerable thing for him. Like, you know, like he's very like, again, kind of like with Zane, like he's very eager, but like, you know, he has different reasons for not showing MC that he's very eager. And it's just a really fun card. Like, I mean, is it fun? Yeah, it's fun. It's very cutesy. I had fun with it. I have fun with this card, so yes, it is fun. It's not like fun's not the vibe of this card, let me be clear. But I love the growing tension between them in this card, and it's just really enjoyable. So it's one of my faves. Then we have Xavier's Winter's Sun card. So in this one, MC and Xavier go grocery shopping together and just kind of talk about how accustomed to each other's lives they've become. This is a very slice of life card, like at its finest. We also get, you know, classic jealous Xavier, of Xavier being jealous that MC wants to make other friends. Who do you like more, me or your other friends? And then finally, for the Promise rerun, we have Zane's Dream Revisited. So in this one, it's really simple. Zane and MC go to an amusement park together. It's very fun and fluffy, but it's one of those like fluff cards that I just like absolutely adore. I know like Love and Deepspace is kind of known for its fluff at this point, as much as it's known for its pain, but I am here for the Zane fluff. And I think this one was underhyped, in my opinion. I love how in this card, both Zane and MC get to embrace their inner child a little bit and just kind of be playful and fun at this amusement park. And even the character progression of Zane throughout this card, I think learning to just like embrace that through MC and be comfortable with that, because his inner child is, you know, right underneath the surface. And I think as the card goes on, you get to see more of that and see him be more open and joyful. Because at the beginning, he's more like, okay, like whatever, you know, but like you can tell like he is genuinely having a good time, and you see that come out a lot more throughout the story. If you're looking for some heartwarming Zane fluff, check this one out. It's a good time. Then we have, I feel like I've been talking for a while, but like I feel like there's a lot that came out with this month. There's a lot to talk about. But next we have Raphael's Rising Tides Heartfelt Gift. This card was free, which maybe it's just, I want to say like it's the March heartfelt gift cards that are really good, because Magnum Opus came out last year around this time, and that one was also wonderful. But Unique Aftertaste also came out around this time, and that one's just fine. So I feel like, you know, if we're ranking those three, oh gosh, that's a hard question. Don't ask me that. And this card, the Raphael girlies, like I said, this month, we're being fed because we finally got our Ebb and Flow sequel. So in this card, MC is preparing for Ebb Day with Raphael and is planning on taking care of him. My, what a month to be Raphael girly. This card was so cute. It was very just gentle and sweet and lighthearted. Well, not lighthearted, but it's lighter, especially when you compare it to the last Ebb Day, which I think there's just so much like character progression and romantic developments that have just happened since then. In the first, like the Bond story, Ebb and Flow, probably my favorite Bond story actually of all time in the game. In the last Ebb Day story we saw, Raphael is very vulnerable, obviously. Oh gosh, there's a bug on my ring light. What? Can you leave? What is that? Okay. There is a bug on my ring light.
Ew.
And I don't know what it is. I have live footage of me freaking out.
Ew.
I'm so uncomfortable.
You have live video of you freaking out?
Yes, because I'm recording right now. It's gotta make it into the video. That's a first.
Okay, where is this bug?
Right here.
Oh, yeah, he's kind of cute.
Yeah.
He's tiny.
He just freaked me out and I look up and I'm like, ah!
Okay, my dude. There you go.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice life.
Have a nice
It's not gonna last for longer. All right, now back to our regular scheduled programming. Where was I in this? Right, we were talking about Ebb and Flow and the progression since then. Right, okay. So the last like Ebb and Flow card, it's a story basically of MC discovering that Raphael is a Lemurian. And Raphael's obviously still dealing with like his feelings of like resentment towards her, being like, how dare you forget about me and that we were supposed to meet up and I mean nothing to, you know, like he's still very much within all of that. It's been 800 years, how dare you? I think the last thing at this point in time he really wants to be doing is like showing his vulnerable side off to MC at this point. He's definitely not there yet, but it's kind of like forced into that situation. I think he was trying to get her to leave, be like, okay, bye, whatever, we hung out, bye-bye. She's kind of seeming like he's something off with him, but then he passes out and then she's like, okay, like he's not feeling well. Oh my goodness, like he's sick. Like what's going on here? She discovers that like he's got scales. Oh, he's Lemurian. Like I thought Lemurians were a myth. Like he's legit Lemurian. By the end of the card, she's like, you know, Raphael, like I'm not gonna hurt you. Showing that she's trustworthy. Remember Bond stories? Remember the good old days, Bond stories? I miss them. I need new Bond stories. That'll be my wish list for 6.0. Guaranteed. Bond story. Please, especially to like, you know, extra for Silas and Caleb who only have one. But anyways, as I was saying, progression. This card's very different. It's obviously at this point in time, MC has a lot more knowledge about Lemurians and Raphael, and they're in a romantic relationship together. And I love how seriously MC takes all of it. She's like, I took the entire week off just to come here to take care of you. MC's so cute. I love her. You'll forever see me being an MC stan. And she even like texted Antalya being like, hey, so like what should I be like looking out for? Like how should I help him? Like what things should I get? So she like buys all this different stuff. At first Raphael's like, you know, like you don't have to, you know, like kind of being his like not overly dramatic self necessarily, but like not taking Ebb Day as seriously. Like he's gonna be sick when he's sick in the Ebb Day of things. But like until that point, until like he's very, very bad, he's gonna work through it all. So like he's making like a sand sculpture. Slowly throughout the days, like he starts like losing his Lemurian senses and starts becoming more human to some degree, but then even like, you know, he starts only being able to see in black and white and like that kind of thing. And he's just like in such a safe place, and it's really, really cute that MC is just able to take care of him like in this vulnerable time for him and just be able to like support him, just able to like hold him, and that's very cute. It's a very sweet card, and to the point at the end of it, like despite the fact like that, you know, Lemurians are pretty miserable on Ebb Day, he's like, you know, I'm kind of looking forward to it next time. Just because, you know, of how safe and cared for MC made him feel. I love this turn for them. I think it's great we finally got a sequel to this. Such a cute card. Not only that, there's so many good voice lines in this card, but I have to talk about my favorite, which may be one of my new favorite Raphael lines of all time. It's in a scene where, at the beginning of the story, where Raphael is being interviewed by some person, I don't know who she is, but some journalist, whatever. And she looks over at MC and she's like, oh, like who is she to you? And he says, if I were to express what happiness means to me, her name is essential. Raphael's spitting bars here. Oh, I love Raphael, and this just proves that. This card is so cute. I really love this. Top tier Raphael card. Currently my favorite Raphael card of the year. We'll see if anything tops this card for me this year. And it's free. I can't believe they gave us this for free, because I feel like there's so many people that would have pulled on this. So I'm very grateful to Infold for giving to us for free, along with 2,000 gems. I'm a happy girl. And finally, the big event I'm sure you all were waiting for, but that is Caleb's new myth, Yin Yang Sundering. This is the first time I'm actually talking about Caleb this month, because he's not a part of the reruns yet. In this myth story, we follow MC and Caleb, who are the Netherlords of the Ghost Realm. I also dressed up actually for this. Like I wore this little like ghost shirt. The ghosts have been kind of hiding under my jacket, but I did wear this because I was gonna talk about Caleb's myth. I've been super excited about Caleb's third myth. I even made like a theories video talking about like what I thought was gonna happen. And I think what were my theories actually? Let's like revisit some of these, because I know I was obviously wrong about the jungle theme. I was wrong about the twist, but I feel like I was right about some stuff. I had that Caleb's hair was gonna be curly. I was wrong about that. I did say he would have revealing clothes. That I was right about. I said like God of Light, Annihilation, or God of Tides. I would say, yeah, definitely close to God of Annihilation-ish. I mean, like, you know, revealing in that regard. Like, it's definitely, you know, revealing the chest stuff. That was right. He has long hair, but it was not curly. It did have, like, a wildish look, I guess. It kind of reminded me of his mullet from Catch 22, but just longer. Adam and Eve, MC maybe created him. If so, beginning of Kindled, and that Viper was the snake. I mean, Viper didn't appear in this. I wouldn't necessarily say, like, I mean, I guess it's based on like a Chinese myth. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but I know that. So I feel like it's more like that and less Adam and Eve like. Because I mean, like, the thing with Adam and Eve is like the story of like creation in general as a whole, of like the world being created and like, you know, all the animals and stuff being created and then humans being created, you know, that's the story of Adam and Eve too. Whereas like this isn't really the story about like creation, but it is about like life and death. Caleb's origin could be. I don't really feel like, you know, I'm not gonna say it is or it isn't, but potentially. Because at the same time, like, there was stuff that came before this too that we, you know, learn about in the myth. So like, it's not completely Caleb's origin. So we might get that later. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a story that comes before this, which wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. I feel like there's still more, personally. But, you know, I could be wrong on that. And timelines are also really confusing too in Love and Deepspace. Like, they're not like linear. It's kind of, you know. And then I got the ending wrong, which I'm kind of shocked by because I was seeing patterns, and as soon as I see a pattern in something, they stop doing it. My theory was MC probably gonna die sacrificing herself for Caleb. I mean, they did that, but also not. MC didn't technically die. Caleb died at one point, but MC did not die, but she lost herself, so death in a certain sense. Decoherence reverse, where Caleb doesn't want to live without MC, and they both die together. I mean, they don't want to live without each other, but they still choose to do it at the end of the day, which is really difficult for them because they don't want to, but it's just kind of like the deal MC makes to keep Caleb alive, and it's kind of like, I'd rather him live without him and him to be alive than for him to be dead and live without him. That's kind of the sacrifice she makes in that regard. But you can tell, like, they don't want to live without each other. They don't want to make this decision. They were forced to. Oh, it's heartbreaking. This whole thing is heartbreaking. I feel like what the Smith does really well is really highlight the importance of Caleb and MC being in each other's lives, which is what makes the ending so heartbreaking. I feel like every time I'm starting to like see a pattern with something, they just decide to throw me off with it. I made a whole video kind of talking about myth fatigue a few months ago and how I'm just a little tired of seeing some of the same repetitive things in the myths. Hence why I still stand by this, that I really want main story myths, but that's a topic for that video. And this still definitely has the same patterns of the other myths. We have a main character who, she knows who she is at the moment, but she has amnesia about a part of her past that she does not remember. And typically the love interest does remember this kind of past, but not always. And then midway through the story, there's a plot twist when MC discovers this like hidden past, and then she ends up sacrificing herself for the love interest. Now this one played out a little bit differently. Like, it still had those attributes to it, but the ending was them being separated, and it really answered the question. We kind of, not answered necessarily, but like it dived into the question of like, if you could choose Caleb or saving the entire world, what would you choose? And she did choose Caleb, but like his life came at the sacrifice of them being together, and that's like so sad. I really like that. That was terrible. And even them drinking a potion to forget about each other was not strong enough to defeat like their love for each other. Like, they were still just like missing each other and yearning for one another. I also find it really interesting with the fact like that they both drank the potion, yet neither one of them forgot each other. Every time like it rains, she's thinking of Caleb, and then like he's like painting her portrait, and she's like listening in when like new people come into the spirit world to like hear about Caleb. The forgetting potion or whatever was not like powerful enough to like defeat their bond and their love for each other. And I also think that parallels really well with his first myth, his standard myth, Lucid Dream, because similar things are happening there. Because I've been really worried about an amnesia plot for Caleb in the main story. I feel like we might be leading up to that, and I'm so scared. Maybe not now, but like in the future at some point. But I think like what we're seeing from these myths is that any amnesia that Caleb may experience, or MC for that matter, is always going to be temporary. And I think we've gotten that reassurance in the myths. We got that here. We also have that in Lucid Dream for both characters. We learn that Caleb is guarding the 7% of his brain that like the chip can't access, and it's all like filled with memories of MC. And the chip like can't change his love for her or any of that kind of stuff. Like, all of that and his like love and care for her is still there. And then we also saw that in the reverse with MC. Like, when she got the chip taken out of her, like she should have forgot, but she didn't forget a thing. She remembered the whole time she was like under the influence of the chip or whatever. So I like those parallels, that like their bond is so much stronger than these external forces that should like force them to forget each other, but like they can't. The story at its core really highlights the bond that MC and Caleb have, and also just like the importance it is of being in each other's lives. We really see that like close-knit bond that they have between them, and it also like helps kind of understand like just like the closeness that they have in general. They know each other super well, maybe better than they know themselves at times, but also I feel like it goes both ways for each other. They've also just kind of been through everything together, so they kind of understand each other in ways that like others wouldn't be able to. I also like that interesting. I feel like in the other myths, the characters weren't exactly romantically involved in the beginning, whereas in this one they were from the get-go. I think the closest we kind of had to this was in Zane's myth, but in that they were kind of in the midst of a fight. So it's really interesting because we haven't had like a myth where like they're already in love at the beginning of the story, which I think was different and refreshing. It was kind of nice to see that. I also love the way that they were portrayed as yin and yang, really as two halves as a whole. I think that really describes them very well, and why them being separated is like so difficult even within that, because they're not exactly like whole without each other. I also love the way like that they parallel each other. They do this all the time. She does this with all of the characters, mind you. So I love seeing when MC kind of parallels the love interest. Like we'll see the love interest do something for her, and then we'll see her do the same thing for them, or just like them acting the same way. In the Caleb language, we say they're matching their freak. But here we learned about MC's past. She kind of like lost her sense of self for a while, and Caleb had to reteach her things like how to say her name, say his name actually, that's what it was, not her name, and how to speak and how to be in general. And then she's even like just dealing with this fact like she feels like she's a monster. And then when MC brings Caleb back to life, we see the same thing with her teaching Caleb all of these things again. So I love when they do that, stuff like that. Like I love the little parallels. I also feel like if you enjoyed like the vibe of this myth, you would also really like And the Haze Will Take Us in Romance Club. I think I mainly made this connection partly because like the music is very similar, but also that has to do with like ghosts and that kind of thing as well. And hey, maybe if you like Caleb, you'd probably like Ozar. That's my prediction. I'm personally an Ozar and Novak girly, but that's a conversation for another day. I think this ending also just really proves like what I was trying to say in my myth fatigue video, that MC doesn't have to die for it to have an emotional impact on you, because this deeply impacted me, and I've been thinking about this myth days and days afterwards. MC didn't have to die for me to be emotionally devastated, and I hope they kind of continue on this trend with other myths by doing other things. Like, I think MC can still die, don't get me wrong, but I think if we do it like so often, it's just gonna start to lose meaning. But this was heartbreaking, watching these two separate from each other. Just like a lot of the parallels people have pointed out too, about how in Exclusive Aftertaste, Caleb would say, telling MC not to look back at him like while like she walks away, but then he's like, in practice, like I always look back. And then like in this myth, like they're walking on that bridge and like, you know, like they're not looking back at each other while like MC walks into the darkness and then Caleb walks into the light. The animation on the Kindled's gorgeous, by the way. Like I love that like whole scene, like the way it was animated and like all the symbolisms of everything. And then Caleb, like his tear, you know, like I said Caleb was gonna crash out. I don't feel like that's what happened. I think a crash out could have been interesting too. I'm not gonna put it past him that we won't see that eventually. But I think that like also seeing like this really like soft sad moment, like it's just like this quiet sad moment from Caleb of just like you see the heartbreak on his face as he's walking away from MC. Oh, it makes me want to cry thinking about it. I was bawling my eyes out. Ironically enough, this was the tissue box that I was using while I was bawling my eyes out, which just like, I don't know, standard Costco brand tissues that we just had lying around our house. And there's literally lotus flowers on them. What the heck? Costco, how dare you? But apparently Costco has tissue boxes just in time for Caleb's myth. Kind of wild, to be honest. I feel like the last quarter of this story, I was just crying the whole time. So these were very necessary. It's interesting too, because I feel like I didn't realize I was really enjoying the myth until it was over. And I feel like actually for the majority of it, like for, well, actually not majority, but like for a good while, I actually didn't think I was liking it. That's actually been pretty typical of all of these myths, except maybe King of Dark Knight. I wasn't necessarily vibing with some of the stuff at first, partly because you're also trying to get to know these different sides of the characters and their lives. But as the story progressed, I was really invested in their storyline. I mean, it's Caleb, and any of the characters, I'm gonna be invested. And I really grew fond of them and like their time together. Overall though, I really ended up loving this myth. I think more in hindsight, kind of how I felt like with that Zane card, Hearts Within Reach. And I think the more I think about it and the more I've like sat with my thoughts on it, I really loved it a lot. It may not have been the jungle Adam and Eve thing I was expecting, and who knows, we may still get that. I think I definitely want to talk longer about this myth, but I think it's probably gonna have to wait for another video. I am like been filming this for a while. Had to like pause recording because my camera battery died, and now I'm like coming back to it and I'm like tired. So I don't know if all of my thoughts are gonna come out tonight, but I will definitely talk more in depth about this in another video for sure. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied. I'm pretty happy with this myth overall. I also wanted to talk a bit about the secret times. I prepare much many notes for this because I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on the secret times, but Duskshard Lotus is the only one I'm gonna talk about now, and then I'm gonna save the other one to talk about next month. So we'll come back to Caleb Smith next month with the other secret times. But basically the secret times was Caleb attempts to wake MC up, if you will. So we got some spicy secret times. You know, I think the more I listen to the secret times, the more they start to grow on me. I wasn't really a fan of the secret times, I think, when I first listened to them, but now they're growing on me. I always imagine in these that MC's mic is muted and that, you know, that's why we don't hear her dialogue or can't hear her voice or, you know, see what she's saying. Like in all of the other stories, I'm just always like, oh, her mic must be muted. Maybe it's because I don't play self-insert, so I'm always like picturing things happening to her. My main character's named Nova. She's a cutie pie. I love her. I am coming around more to the secret times, so I did like this. There's like this playfulness because like MC's like pretending she's asleep too. And Caleb's like, yeah, no, you're not. She would just pretend to be asleep to kind of like tease and bug Caleb a little bit. And then Caleb's like being like, let me try to wake her up, you know, spicily so. That would wake me up. That's all I'm saying. That's my whole thoughts on everything that came out this month. Before we end off, I have two other things that I wanted to add to these kind of videos. So I have like two awards to give out, if you will, talking about like what was my favorite story that came out this month and what was my favorite Kindled. My only rules for this is that it only includes new cards, so stuff like Hearts Within Reach that's like a rerun would not count for this. And I also can't repeat things, so if I say that Duskbright Steps was my favorite story, it can also not be my favorite Kindled. So I'm gonna mention two separate things. And I think that way you're hearing more about what I loved this month. So anyways, my favorite story is easily Caleb's Myth. I feel like it's a given, like it's the myth story. At any time there's a myth story that comes out, I always love it. I think there's only one time I haven't liked a myth story, but every other time I think they're top tier. They're some of my favorite stories in the game and they really impact me emotionally. So I really love like how this is like enhancing the bond in general that MC and Caleb have, and I think it's gonna help you view the other stories with like a different lens to them, which I think is fun, which I think these myths always do. I've already rambled enough about Caleb's myth. I will be talking more about it soon, but that's my thoughts on that. I loved it. And then I'm gonna give an honorable mention to Raphael's Rising Tides story. I mean, I had to still mention that one because I did love that one a lot as well. If it wasn't for the myth story, this would be my favorite card of the month, but you know, we all knew Caleb's myth was coming at the end of the month. And then my favorite Kindled's gonna go to Tranquil Moments. Like, here's the thing, I loved the Ebb Day Kindled, was sweet, cute, spicy, whatever. But I feel like the overall better Kindled was Tranquil Moments. That's why I put the Ebb and Flow one at honorable mention. But Tranquil Moments was so silly as a Kindled. I really loved that part. Which, I mean, that made me want to pull on the card already because I was just like, this is so silly. This is so unserious. Like Xavier trying to cook the food and MC is so funny. She's like picking up the lid using it as a shield. She's so funny. I also love seeing MC. I think the more we see of MC, the happier I am as a person. Because I think she's a cutie pie and I love seeing her, especially here. Like, I love that she's been more expressive too, which is just showing that the animators have gotten even better, but I love seeing like the expressions on her face. Like, she kind of is just like, you know, I love seeing an expressive MC. I love that we're getting more of that. We're getting more from her. Oh, I did want to mention that also in, I think, Caleb's first Kindled in his myth, I loved the fact that she would be like sitting on his shoulder, and that was like, oh, that's included in battle. Like, we got the battle with X02 and him like carrying her, and now we have her on his shoulder. Is this gonna be a continuation? Are we gonna get more listings like this? Like next time, is she gonna be like on his head? I don't know. Anyways, there we go. That's all I have for you this month. Let me know down below what was your favorite thing that came out this month, whether it was a rerun, whether it was something new you played for the first time. I would love to hear from you. And I'm looking forward to what we have in April. We got a lot of exciting things. I mean, we really have Silas's birthday. That's the big event. That's the only thing I really know that's coming out in April, and potentially a multi, potentially. So that could be exciting. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm looking forward to Silas's birthday. That'll be fun. And it's great because it's the first birthday rerun I won't have to pull on. I will still be pulling on his birthday card, but I already have his birthday card from last year. So I got lucky last year. I got it in the 20 free pulls. So hopefully I can do that again. That would be great. Silas, come home to me quick. Anyways, that's all for now, and I will see you guys soon in a new video. Bye!